Hello everyone. Today I'm going to give you a brief discussion of the dystopian situation I have found at Paytrust. Paytrust is a Quicken company. They use two-factor authentication. And many customers, including myself, have been locked out for quite some time and we cannot access our account because Paytrust two-factor authentication is broken. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit in this video. Paytrust has been around for a very long time, and I've been a customer of theirs for a long time because when you travel around the world and you are always on the go, it's great to have your bills consolidated in a single place. So I was a big fan of Paytrust for, I don't know, I think a decade. And I pay them every month and they receive a lot of my bills and then does the normal bill paying management kind of thing. It receives your bills. Maybe you can automatically pay, maybe you can't. So Paytrust has always had this issue of kind of a very old interface. And recently it's broken. And I'm going to show you quickly what's wrong with it. It's very simple. In the old days, when you tried to log in, you basically would have to put your user ID in here, which I'm going to put, but I'm going to mask out for the purposes of this video. And then after you log in, it gives you this, to better protect your account. They need this two-factor authentication validation. So if you have a number on file, it's going to call you. And when it calls you, then we basically enter this number. If you click on this, because you can read this, Paytrust, sign on to make your life safer, online experience, 2 steps. So when you click on this, it takes you to this screen and asks you to pick one of your numbers. Both of these numbers are Skype numbers, and they ring directly on the telephone that I have in my hand. And I have the volume all the way turned up, and everything is set. And I know it works because I received calls on these numbers yesterday. Matter of fact, I got a call from Paytrust customer service, which I'll talk about, on this same number, and I got a call from the office of the CEO of Quicken a little over a day ago. And plus other people call me on this number quite a bit, either one of these numbers. And so it rings right on my telephone that's in my hand. So it doesn't matter which one of these we pick. In the past, it was the same. If I picked any of these numbers and said continue, within a few seconds, it would ring my telephone and I could enter this code in. So I've got the volume on, I've got my telephone right next to the microphone, and I'm going to click. And it says, we're calling you now. So it's been this way for about a month. It doesn't call. There's no way to enter any security code. Nothing happens. It's total quiet. So it's been this way for a month, and I have had no luck with Paytrust customer service at all. I've called them up. They've identified me with all the personal identifiers, and they will not let me in my account. They claim that they can't fix this, that the system, there's no way to let me into my account if I cannot receive this telephone call and enter these 5 digits into my telephone. But it's impossible because they never call. Anyway, let's cancel this. I think you get the idea. It just doesn't work. It says here, our phone call was not answered. But that's just absolutely not true. It doesn't call me. And this used to work. It worked for over, I don't know, for years. Same kind of situation, Skype numbers forwarded to my mobile normal mobile service number, and it rings. Or it just rings my Skype number directly. Skype is installed both on my computer and on my telephone, so these just ring directly, but they don't work. So this has just been a nightmare for me, especially because I don't suffer fools very easily, and I don't understand how anyone can be so, I don't know what the correct word is, irresponsible about managing security. Because, for example, if we have a brokerage service, which I do, two of them with two-factor authentication, and for some reason the two-factor authentication doesn't work, I can call up customer service. They will identify me with the standard things like your date of birth, your social, and if they want to go deeper, they might even pull up some public records and ask you, where you lived 5 years ago and give you some multiple choice. But they have a way to identify you, and after they have identified you, then they will just reset your account or even remove the two-factor authentication if you're the verified customer. And this is true with every brokerage service and every bank that I do business with. It's basically the way two-factor authentication works. And also, all of them, without exception, when you're the customer, you can turn this on and off yourself, and they normally give you a set of fail-safe digits that you can keep in your safe or in any secure location, and if you have a problem, you can enter those numbers. So, for example, with my brokerage service, and I'm not going to pull this up and show you these things, but I think most people are familiar with Google's Authentication or VeriSign's program. There's a number of services out there that work quite good. And a lot of them are telephone, mobile-based apps where it basically has these time-based synchronized 6-digit pins that you use for authentication. But Paytrust has this system where they have to call you, and it doesn't call anymore. So I'm basically locked out of my account, and I can't get in. And the irony of the situation about this is that when I call Paytrust and I say to them, for example, this account I'm locked out, they send me customer messages back to my email address, and they say, "Oh, Mr. Bass, you're not locked out." And I say, "Well, yes, I'm locked out." And they say, "Well, no, you're not locked out." And I go, "Yes, I'm locked out." They say, "No, there's a technical problem with our two-factor authentication, and many people are not receiving the call." And I go, "Yes, I know." And they say, "In some people, when they receive the call, it's immediately dropped. So it's a technical issue." And I go, "Yes, just like if you have keys to your house and the keys don't work, you are essentially locked out of your house." And they don't really seem to understand that. So I've asked them, well, since I can't get into my account and I have a tax deadline coming up where I need to have all these information to all my 2018 transactions, I'd like to get a copy of my payees and the things that happened last year. Please just send me a PDF file of those. They won't do that. They won't even give me a list of my active payees. They're basically refusing to allow me to access my account because of a system technical error. And I got a call even today from Paytrust, less than 12 hours ago. And they basically identified me and did all the security checks on the telephone with a supervisor, and they told me there was nothing they could do. I've talked to the office of the CEO of Quicken. They say many people have this problem, not only me, and there's nothing Paytrust can do. And there's nothing Quicken can do except try to escalate this. So this is the dystopian problem when a company relies on technology. And they don't even have a fail-safe mechanism in their system to override this when they have a system problem. So basically, Paytrust is dependent on a technology that doesn't work. They have no backup, they provide the customer no flexibility, and they have locked me and many others out of our accounts for quite a long time. Now, when I speak on the phone about it to the good folks at Quicken, they're very understandable about this, but they have notified me that they will no longer be associated with Paytrust as of the end of this month, which is about 3 days away. This is a very modern dystopian situation where a company has basically lost control because of a technology. I guess you can summarize, Paytrust has lost control of their entire process because they have a broken two-factor authentication problem. So that's the situation. I don't know what the resolution is. I have two-factor authentication on a number of brokerage accounts, all of my various Gmail and other accounts. I have it on, let me just pull this up and look at it on my telephone, just so you'll get an example of how extensive my two-factor authentication is. I have it with 4 or 5 servers on the internet where I've installed it myself using Google Authentication libraries. I've got it on a couple of VPN services that are commercial services I pay for. I have it in domain services. I have it for logging into Twitter, Facebook. All of these have a GitHub, for example. My GitHub account is also authenticated with two-factor authentication. And all of these services, I have a fail-safe mechanism in case something goes wrong, but not Paytrust. So this is the situation, and I don't see any resolution to it. So I wanted to just basically explain to people that if you're having this problem with Paytrust, it seems like we're just kind of shit out of luck, as the old saying goes, SOL, because they have no fail-safe mechanism to let us into our account. I don't know what our recourse is. I've had to file an extension with my federal income taxes because I'm traveling overseas. I always get an automatic 6 months extension. So those tax returns are actually due in a little over 2 weeks, and I don't have access to do that. I've been writing to the U.S. Treasury and let them know that I need an extension. And it's just a very difficult situation. I mean, it could be worse, but I just don't understand how Paytrust can have such a poorly managed security system where customers are locked out. And so just be careful, whoever you're dealing with, to make sure that if they do have these kind of quote unquote secure systems, that they have provided some fail-safe mechanism in case their system breaks. And most do. And as a matter of fact, Paytrust is the only company that I deal with that has a broken two-factor authentication system. So be careful. And if you have any comments or suggestions, please feel free to put them in the comments. And I'll see you in the next cyber dystopian video. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.